Summer dress, flip-flops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings the boy to life. Be with the fuse you light, be good, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked into town beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say what's your name, girl, you're lonely.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this 20th day of September 2023. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts as well throughout the Belly Up Media Network. And thank you to all those who take time in their day, each and every day, to either listen to the podcast or watch our YouTube shows. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps create more shows and on and on and on. And give us a 5-star review, even if you don't think it's a 5-star review or worthy of a 5-star. Give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast network you listen to on a daily basis. And all of us here at 1420 World Headquarters, thank you very much for all that you do on a daily basis. Before I get to the top 5 list that I compiled for you for the top 5 disappointments in baseball for the 2023 season, I want to get onto last night. I was sitting watching the Oakland A's game last night. One of the last times the A's are going to be playing. They're playing the Seattle Mariners last night. The Mariners are still in a playoff race, trying to get into the wild card spot. I think that they'll get in because the Rangers stink right now. But the notification came across the board. There was a no-hitter alert once again in the San Diego game with the Colorado Rockies in San Diego. Blake Snell was on the hill. He's going to win a Cy Young Award for the San Diego Padres. Free agent, going to be a free agent right away for the in the National League and everything else. So he's moving on. He'll be moving on to different pastures, I'm assuming, especially after last night's display of complete stupidity once again by the San Diego Padres. The guy's got a no-hitter in the 7th. He'll probably only get 1 or 2 more starts for your franchise ever again, the way it turns out. And if he has no more starts, the Padres season is over. They aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They had a rough go. We'll get to that in half a second with the disappointing teams in Major League Baseball, and they're one of them, obviously. But Blake Snell was visibly upset last night, shaken, not just stirred, I guess you would say, that he was getting pulled in the game to not go out there for the 8th inning to get a no-hit bid, and on and on it goes. Second time in his career that's happened to him, and he wanted to stay in the game. And baseball needs more guys like that. I'm not a big Snell fan. The way he talks, his attitude's a bit much for me. For whatever reason, he rubbed me the wrong way a couple years ago, and I forgive, but I don't forget is one of those things. And the thing is with Snell, he wanted to go back out there and give himself a chance for a no-hitter, give the fans a chance for no-hitter, and there would be nobody watching that game on a national level or on any network TV or anywhere else other than the greater San Diego area. People in Denver, Colorado, they're already sleeping by that point because their season's been done since April. So when Snell wanted to go out there and should have been allowed to go out there for that no-hit bid in the 8th and see where it could go, because what do the Padres care if he ever pitches then if he hurts his arm or whatever? What are you saving him for? He's doing nothing. Like I say, he's going to get one, maybe 2 more starts this season. That's it. And it just goes to show that the analytics staff of the Padres, they have no idea what they're doing. The feel for the game, they have no idea what they're doing, and it just showed that last night, giving the fans who were there for that game, the Padres faithful in their beautiful brown pinstripe uniforms with the yellow trim, fantastic there. And to pull a guy, you got to have a feel for the game, you got to have a feel for your fans, and you got to have a feel for what goes on in the game of baseball. And the Padres showed last night exactly who they are, and that's why their season's down the tank. We'll get to that in half a second, but got this idea yesterday. I was thinking about teams that aren't going anywhere and how the season is winding down to a precious few days and way it's going on. 11 more days left in the season, and a lot of teams night after night are getting eliminated from playoff contention. I mean, you pretty much know who's in, who's out, who's not going, and who is. And so I got to this thing about who thought they were going to the postseason this year, and it just didn't happen for one reason or another. So I compiled because it's funny how it's already the finger pointing. It didn't already start 2 weeks ago or a month ago or a month and a half ago, whenever the trade deadline was. Their finger pointing happens right then. So it's kind of funny how it's all coming to fruition now, how teams that thought they had a chance to do something this year and just didn't. Maybe an injury or two happened, or guys underperformed, or maybe they overrated how their season was going to go. And I got to think I should do a top 5 list, because who doesn't like a top 5 list when it comes down to it? So I got some stuff together, the good, the bad, and the ugly of some team seasons, what their records were last year, what they thought they were going to do this year, some win projections, which is always weird for me, your win projected total, because it's funny how the talking heads and the prognosticators come up with those numbers. They must have more time than I do, or they have a huge staff, I guess, that helps out with that. But it's always funny to go through these things and see how it all turned out and what they thought they were going to do and what they ended up doing. So here it is, my top 5 list of voted by yours truly. I didn't do any other research, or just did the research myself about who I thought was a big disappointment. So this is Brent's top 5 list. Hope you get back to me on our comment section below, or get back to us on our social media accounts, or wherever you follow the 1420 World 1420 podcast, and let us know what your thoughts are on my top 5 list. It's greatly appreciated. I like all the feedback that we get. But anyways, let's get to number 5. The New York Yankees currently sit at 76-75. They last won a world championship in 2009, the first year at the new Yankee Stadium. Last season, they finished at 99-63. They actually stumbled to that record last year. Aaron Judge pulled them to that kind of a situation. They had a bad second half, and that carried into this season. The talking heads gave them a 12.4% chance to win the World Series with a lineup of Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo, and a pitching staff led by perennial Cy Young contender Garrett Cole. Offseason acquisition of Carlos Rodon. The Yankees faithful had really high hopes this year. I wasn't one of them. The problem is in Yankee land that they just aren't very good. They went into the season without a left fielder. They went into the season without a third baseman in Josh Donaldson. And then they have a Nestor Cortez, who I figured was going to take a step back. Then Rodon got hurt. Luis Severino took a step back as well. They had to have Judge in there. Obviously, there was no doubt they were going to re-sign him, but there was no way you would think that Judge would have had the same kind of a year that he had last season or this season as he did last year. 62 home runs in the American League has only been done once, and that was last year by Mr. Aaron Judge. So there was no way, without something going on, that team was going to do anything. Harrison Bader being hurt, inability to stay healthy in center field. They went with him. Volpe, who they had at pencil in to be the shortstop, has been better than I thought he was going to be. So that wasn't a big deal. But the problem that they got is that Giancarlo Stanton isn't very good. He's winding down. He should find a way to buy him out. They're not going to. But the Yankees, it's funny how people had them projected to go as high as they did, but I don't think the Yankees are very good. That's the problem, that to have that projection, they were going to do some damage. I guess if they would have stayed healthy, they had Domingo Germán, who did have the perfect game this year. He's out for the season with some alcohol issues. I hope things get better on his end. But the New York Yankees in general, they aren't very good. They won the division last year, but this year they just aren't good enough, and that's showing a lot. So disappointment for Yankee fans, yes. I think it's realistic, though, but I think there's people who thought that the Yankees were going to be a lot better. I think there were some Yankee fans who thought they were going to be a lot better. I think the Yankees general or management thought they were going to be better, but the thing is that I don't think that they were a World Series contender this year, and they just proved that they weren't. So the thing is, when your team is like this, and they were like this for most of last season, they didn't got off that hot start in the 2022 year, but this year they are who they are. And the thing is that this Yankee team is flat out, they're just mediocre, and they just don't got it. And I talked about it, I think, on Sunday, how this Yankee team projects to be worse next year, and they're a 500 team this year. Maybe they got to win 5 more games this season to get to the 500 record. They haven't finished below 500 since 1992. Year I graduated high school, man. That's a long, long time ago. So that might come to an end. So that's the number 5 most disappointing team in baseball. I'm disappointed they're not a playoff team, because baseball is better when the Yankees are in it. For me, because there is a hatred for the Yankees. Nothing brings two people together more like the hatred of a third. third, right? So it's one of those things. So that's my number 5 team this year for most disappointing teams. Number 4 on my list, the St. Louis Cardinals. Last World Series championship came in 2011. Had a record of 93-69 last season. Good for first in the National League Central. They currently have a record of 67-84 and sit in last place in that same National League Central. That's crazy to think they were first to worst this time. The last time that happened was back in 1990 when the Marlins, Rockies, Rays, and Diamondbacks didn't even exist. If you find that crazy. And they finished the record 70-92 in what was Whitey Herzog's last season, manager in St. Louis. Obviously, Cardinals great. Whitey Herzog. The Cards were projected to have a 92-70 record this season. Started out 10-19 and never got going really after that. Last year they had a little bit of a boost when two Cardinals legends were on a farewell tour in the second half of last season, leading them into the playoffs. Albert Pujols, Yadi Molina. There wasn't going to be easy. Wilson Contreras got going pretty decent this season. Was brought in, although he's been 20 home runs, he's hitting above average. 265, not enough. Nolan Arenado's had a rough year this year, not going up to his usual standards. He's a projected second, third ballot Hall of Fame kind of guy. Pitching staff's been terrible. They've been terrible at missing bats. They throw pitches in the strike zone. They don't miss too many bats, so that's the problem there. When you're relying on a 42-year-old Adam Wainwright to be your 4th or 5th starter, it's a recipe for disaster, and that's what they got. Playoffs are looking like a pipe dream. They're perennial playoff contenders year in, year out. The writing was definitely on the wall. Trade deadline when they traded Jordan Montgomery and Jordan Hicks at the deadline. The Cardinals they don't improve. They didn't do anything the Cardinal way, as they always call it, the Cardinal way out there in St. Louis. They got a great fan base and things are going well, but eventually you do got to take a step back. You got to think they got to improve their pitching staff right off the bat. That's the first thing that they got to do for next season, or else they'll find themselves in the exact same predicament that they're in this year. Maybe go out and get a Blake Snell in the offseason. They're going to overpay. Everybody overpays for pitchers, and maybe I still think Marcus Stroman's going to opt out and he's going to get paid, and maybe he'll end up going to the most heated rival from the Cubs to the St. Louis Cardinals. So you like to see the Cardinals in it. They're a classy organization. They don't do too many things wrong. They just didn't have it this year, and their pitching staff just wasn't good enough, and that showed early. When you start off slow at 10-19 or whatever it was, it's hard to get back into the race, and it's hard to get yourself into a situation where you're going to be a playoff contender. Making up 9 games after a month is tough. It has been done, obviously. It's been done a lot, but you got to be at about 500, 1 or 2 games around there all year long, because to get to 9 or 10 games above, that means you got to go 18 games above. It's just math again, kids. And the Cardinals just couldn't find their way out of that. Number 3 on my list of teams that just disappointed this season, the Cleveland Guardians. Baseball's longest dry spell between world champions. Last win was in 1948. They had a record of 92-70 last season, won the AL Central. They currently have a record of 72-80, good for second in the division. Terrible division. They were projected to match the record of last year and go 91-71. So basically the same thing. Being a year older and year wiser, one would have thought that they would have had a better season and had a chance to go to the ALCS, ALDS as they did last year when they actually took the Yankees to 5 games. A year series that they probably could have won. They probably got stomped by the Astros as well, just as the Yankees did. But they look like they're ready to take the next step and maybe return and go to the World Series, since they did in 2016, one of the best World Series, nostalgic World Series that they had against the Cubs, which the Cubs won in 7 games. And with an erratic Minnesota Twins team, you don't know what you're getting with the Twins. I thought that the Guardians would have been there again. They're a young, energetic team. They could pitch, but they don't hit well enough. And they have a lot of situations going on out there. Their last World Series, it's a long time. It's that since they won one. So you got to think that they have a chance to do something this year. And Tony Francona's crew wasn't able to repeat. Things haven't gone so well in Cleveland this year. Maybe small market thing is finally catching up with them. Jose Ramirez has been great as well, but the rest of the team doesn't hit very well. They don't produce. They produce like a pea shooter kind of deal. They have no offense whatsoever. They're like one guy over 20 home runs and a batting average below 250, a team batting average below 250. And that's what you get when you have that kind of a team. Then you add the bullpen has blown 28 saves and 72 opportunities. No wonder the record is what it is. Emmanuel Clase himself has double-digit blown saves, and so just hasn't went well for them. Their bullpen's given up 64 home runs this year. Shane Bieber's been average at best, and Cal Quantrill, that's just what you're going to get out of him. So basically, if your team doesn't hit very well, doesn't pitch it very well, this is what you're going to get. And their record of 72-80 currently, that's who they are, and that's what you're going to get when you don't hit it and you don't pitch it. This this is who you are. And that's what you get with the Cleveland Guardians. And they'll be going to another year or 2 or maybe 6 into the small market team. Teams crying small market. I don't get that anymore because you have a lot of teams that are small market that find a way. The Baltimore Orioles, Tampa Bay Rays, year in, year out, they find ways to get themselves to contention, especially the Rays, not so much the Orioles. That Orioles team, they won again last night in Houston. It's funny to watch that Houston team kind of falling apart a little bit at the seams. There were some disparaging comments between teammates to the media last night. A guy's not being prepared to go and everything else at this point of the season. So you wonder how that's all going to play out for the Houston Astros. Once again, I have forgiven, but I will never forget 2017. I've forgiven, but I'll never forget. Anyways, number 2 on my list of most disappointing teams is the New York Metropolitans. Last time the New York Mets won a World Series was 1986 when they beat the Boston Red Sox and was widely blamed on Bill Buckner. Take a look at it. It wasn't Buckner's fault. A lot of stuff happened before that ball went through Buckner's legs. But that's another story for another day. Anyways, the Mets currently sit with a record of 70-81, which is far below the 90-72 record they're projected to have. They had a great year last year. They kind of blew it last year, but they had a record of 101-61. So to go to a 30 loss or a 30 win drop in a season is something else. You have to think that didn't go very well, but Mets being the Mets, you had to think that things were going to go sideways for the Mets in the World Baseball Classic. Edwin Diaz went down celebrating, hurt his knee. He was out for the season right off the bat, but you thought that maybe the billionaire owner Steve Cohen's billions of dollars might have saved the team a little bit. He could have made a deal here. They went out and got a Verlander, as you know, and added Max Scherzer to the 1-2 punch. A lot of people thought that was going to be the best 1-2 punch in baseball, but it didn't work out. They were good, not great for the $80 million, whatever it was that they're paying those two. The bullpen kind of did okay, led by Adam Ottavino and David Robertson. I thought they would do a lot better with how it went. It just didn't go as well. I've always liked David Robertson. He was the heir apparent, remember, to Mariano Rivera. I thought the Yankees kind of gave up on him a little too early, and Adam Ottavino is Adam Ottavino. He just doesn't miss many bats. He was really good a few years ago. He said he would strike out Babe Ruth. He probably would with that. He had some nasty stuff coming out of the bullpen, but one of those things. But they just weren't good enough with Diaz out of the lineup. Plate the defending batting champion Jeff McNeil is hitting .269 with 10 home runs. Far cry from last year. We hit 326. Pete Alonso's only hitting .221 compared to .271 last year. Batting average still matters to me, everybody. You guys know how I feel about the metrics, everything else. If you get on base, you have a better chance to win. And the Mets just haven't been doing it all. They're offensively, the team's not very good, ranking 13th in batting average in the National League at .239 and 11th in runs scored. So that all adds up right there with the Mets being the Mets, and with the team selling at the trade deadline as they did, and then with Robertson being the first one to go to the Marlins, and then they had basically then Verlander, or not Verlander so much, but Scherzer, he kind of had a little bit of hissy fit with the owners. They shipped him out. Now he's out for the season. So it's just the Mets going to be the Mets. And you wonder where they're going to go next year. Steve Cohen, he said that basically they were going to win a World Series within the first 3 to 5 years of his tenure as the owner of the New York Metropolitans. And I don't think that's going to happen, because it's obviously not happening this year. And I think this is the 3rd year of his tenure as the owner. Money's no object, this guy, but he's kind of got to be a little bit, got to watch the pocketbook a little bit, but their minor league system wasn't very good, so they made some deals at the deadline. They improved their minor league system, so basically they mail it in for next year. Maybe 2025 is the year that New York Metropolitans might bring a championship to to Citi Field. Chase Field's in Arizona. Nice field, actually. I like going there. They might be moving, but anyways, to Citi Field in Flushing, Queens, and you wonder how that's all going to add up for the New York Metropolitans and their fan base out there in Queens, in Flushing, Queens, New York. It's just that the Mets are going to Met. It's one of those things that you just predicting how they're going to turn out. You just turn on that TV, they're going to lose. It's just the Mets, right? And anyways, number 1 on my list of most disappointing teams. I alluded to it earlier on in the podcast, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, as we really appreciate everybody's support to our show. But basically, number 1 most disappointing teams. I don't think anybody can argue this one. The San Diego Padres.
The San Diego Padres came into this season loaded with superstar talent, and expectations were
in their long illustrious history. They ran into the Detroit Tigers in the Roar of '84, and you guessed it. And they've also played the New York Yankees in 1998. Sorry, where they lost in 4 games to that powerhouse Yankees team. Currently, they have a record of 74-78, 20 games back. Yep, 20 games back of the National League leading geez, I'm just stumbling through this all of a sudden. National League leading Los Angeles Dodgers. You thought that the 93 and 69 record that they had last year, you thought they would improve on that. The whole thing going with them is that they have a team of superstars right to the line. They're great pitching the whole way through. The people at Petco Park expected a lot more. You thought they would have a chance to do something, to do some damage this year. Expectations were high. The line that includes Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and a pitching staff. The aforementioned Blake Snell is going to win the National League Cy Young Award. There's no way he's not. He's the best pitcher in the National League. He's doing it at the right time. He's up for a new contract. Yeah, they're a great baseball team. They have a great team set of baseball players. That's the problem with the San Diego Padres. They don't have a great baseball team. They have a great pitching staff of Yu Darvish, like I said, Blake Snell, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, and Joe Musgrove. Throw in Josh Hader, one of the best in the business. He's got a 1.24 ERA out of the bullpen, in the closer role with 30 saves on that team, 5 blown saves, which happens year in, year out. There's no way that this team with those beautiful brown pinstripes with the yellow trim should be in last place or in second last place in the National League West. They have an owner willing to spend a lot of money. Remember back in the offseason, they were in on the Aaron Judge sweepstakes right to the end. You would have thought that they would have, if they would have had something going on, they would have added pieces at the deadline, but it just has not worked for the Padres. And it's odd because you look at all the stats and everything that goes on with that team. They have the second lowest ERA in the National League this year. Right now, they've given up the fewest hits, the fewest home runs, and struck out more batters than any other team in the National League. They hit it well. They have everything going on right for them. So where did the Padres go wrong? I'm glad you asked. Well, this team is exactly what you get when you throw talent together without a team mentality and a team metric. They don't play baseball well in late innings. They're 0-11 in extra inning games. They're 6-22 in one-run games. And until this 6-game win streak that they're on right now, they didn't have a 4-game winning streak all season long until this point in the season. So there it is in a nutshell. They get too many two strikeouts. They get too many ground ball outs at opportune times. They don't play well late in games. They don't hit the ball the other way. They don't play as a team. They don't do things for themselves. They play for the numbers in the back of their baseball card, and they don't do anything to improve the team standing. And they want to just they're a group of individuals. And yes, baseball is an individualistic sport. I understand that 100%. But you need to have a team metric and a team mentality. You want to win baseball games and to play for the team pitcher and not for your own pitcher. And that's kind of what the San Diego Padres are right now. The Padres have a team that just doesn't play baseball for the team. And I hate to admit that my wife is right about this one. You got to play as a team. And the Padres, they just don't. They don't do it. They swing for the fences when a base hit would do. They don't take that outside pitch the other way and get a base hit. They just aren't very good. They care about themselves. Since they started talking stats, it's just one of those teams that doesn't do well in close games in the late innings. And so they're one of the worst teams to do that since they started taking those stats since 1969. The Padres just don't got it. It's too bad because the people of San Diego, they have a great fan base there, a great following, and they have an owner that's willing to spend, but they're spending it all on all the wrong guys. And the Padres, to me, are in a situation now where what do you do? Do you let Soto walk? Do you let Snell walk? Do you go all the other way because all that money is spent? Like you just say, oh, well, we tried for 1 year and then that's it. So the Padres, to me, are the most disappointing team in baseball this season, and there's no turning back. And maybe the Padres are like the Mets. The Padres are just going to Padre. Maybe there's a reason why the Padres have not won themselves a world championship yet, and only been twice in there since 1969 when they came into the league. That's a long time ago. That's 54 years, and only been in the World Series twice, and actually only with 16 winning seasons, I think. And have a record like they do this year. It goes to show that team just isn't built to win with the individuals they got on that team. Tatis Jr. to me is a cancer. Machado, there's a reason why every team kind of passed on him a little bit. He's a hell of a talent. There's no getting around that. But he's the kind of guy that's there for himself. And a lot of you hate to say be the old man, get off my lawn guy, but a lot of these guys are such blowhards, and they're such me guys, and that's today's modern athlete to an extent. They're not all like that. There's a lot of guys like to win. People had Bryce Harper in that kind of in that situation, but you look at Harper, how he took that Phillies team on his back and damn near won a World Series last year, and the Phillies are right back in it this year when he came back a little bit early from his injury, and how they've found their way to get into a wild card spot and are looking to do some damage and return to the World Series again this year. So there's a modern day athlete who acts like Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, and then there's a modern day athlete who acts like the Bryce Harper of the world. So it's one of those things that you hope that the Padres can find a way and to find a way into a contention next year and maybe overtake that Dodgers team, maybe take a page out of the Dodgers book, and you look how that team can find a way to win every year, and with the talent they got with Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and the like, and how they find a way to get into the playoffs every year. They haven't been won a bunch of World Series yet, but you think that the Padres might want to look at how their metrics are done and how the team is built, like the Dodgers have done for many years in that National League West. But anyways, there's my top 5 most disappointing teams. Make sure you comment in the comment section below what you think about how it was all shaped up, how it all got put together. But there it is. That's for your listening pleasure on wherever you get your podcast, everything else. But anyways, make sure you get back to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And here is a little word from our friends at SeatGeek.
The foul baller. If there's a ball that's gone foul, he's gone to get it. Under his watchful gaze, all bevs, binoculars, and ballpark brats are safe. He's the only thing that stands between his section and certain destruction. That's why he only trusts SeatGeek with his tickets. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.
Anyways, here, thank you very much for our friends at SeatGeek. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20. You guys know the spiel, but for our new listeners, there you go. You go use SeatGeek, get yourself some baseball tickets for the weekend, or maybe some football tickets. Lots going on there too. Yeah, Jesus, that's crazy with the people fighting in the stands. We talked about it yesterday, but that doesn't much matter. Anyways. On this day in 1968, New York Yankees legend Mickey Mantle hit home run number 536 and the last one of his career in the Yankees' 4-3 loss to the Boston Red Sox in front of 15,737 people at Yankee Stadium in New York. Mantle's home run, his 18th of the season, came with nobody on and 2 out in the 3rd inning off of Jim Lonborg. Mantle played 18 years in the big leagues, all with the Yankees, and was an all-star 16 times in those 18 years. Had a career batting average of .298. Won 3 MVPs and was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1974. There it is, Yankee, one of the greatest Yankees ever, and that says a lot. Number 7, Mickey Mantle, last home run on this day in 1968. There, one of the all-time greats. People still talk very well about the Mick, and not about his off-field antics, but his on-field antics. Mickey was one of the best. And happy birthday to John Tavares, born on this day in Mississauga, Ontario in 1990. Tavares was drafted 3rd overall by the New York Islanders in the 2009 entry draft and played on the island for 9 seasons before signing with his hometown and childhood favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, on July 1st, 2018. The current Leafs captain has played in 1,029 games, recording 427 goals, 548 assists for 975 points thus far in his career, and played in 6 All-Star games so far, and scored the OT winner to send the Leafs to the 2nd round for the first time in a long, long time this last postseason. Hockey season's getting going here in the next few days, so happy birthday to John Tavares, born on this day in 1990 in Mississauga, Ontario. Anyways, there it is today, folks. Make sure you guys, we appreciate everything's going to happen. Lots going on. That's it for today, I think. But back tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night with Dave, we got something cooking. We always got something cooking here at 1420 World Headquarters. But anyways, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you subscribe and like and retweet and all that stuff, and follow bellyupsports.com. Go check out all those great articles, like I said earlier on. But thought we'd give this top 5 thing a go. It worked out pretty well. It's a little bit of work on my end, but I don't mind doing it for you guys and everything else. So anyways, that's it for today. And as always, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.